Hello. So I am a self-described liberal, and I honestly did not think that I would be so nervous, but I am. And I wanted to kind of clear up some things. You had said earlier that
Charlie Kirk absolutely owns this supposed free speech liberal. At this event, Charlie Kirk welcomed comments from the crowd. This liberal tries to debate Charlie Kirk in an issue about free speech and who's about free speech and whatnot. And she totally fails, by the way. Totally, absolutely fails. And Charlie Kirk has no problem in schooling her. Let's see how this goes down.
it's easy, you'd asked if it's easy to hold liberals, is it easy to hold your beliefs? And, oh, it's easy because the rest of society agrees with you, yada, yada, yada. However, that's not why I find it easy. I was liberal before it was cool. I find my beliefs easy to hold because I believe them in my soul. And I feel like a lot of conservatives are the same way. Your beliefs aren't subject to acceptance or disacceptance. Something else, and I mean, and honestly, if it were about what would be easy, it would be if I wanted to make my life more comfortable, I would change and become conservative. Because my husband has been caught up in and has changed his way of thinking to be a conservative person over the past couple of years.
We'll get you there.
Caused absolute disarray. So if it were something where I could just say, oh, well, you know, if you could get somebody to change their values.
Yeah, so let's try to make some progress. What do you believe and why do you believe it?
Well, I believe actually a lot of the same things you believe, just maybe in a more broad sense. Like, I believe in freedom.
Okay.
I believe in free speech. I believe in free speech for everybody. I believe in freedom of expression. If you were born with a and you want to wear a dress, have at it. It's not my life, and I don't get to dictate to anybody else what's right or wrong. I don't believe that man is above nature, because then is man unnatural? If man is separate from nature, is man unnatural?
Man is made in the image of the Creator, but I do want to zero in on one thing here, which is so you say you don't care what other people do. Just curious, like, do you think it should be okay for adults to perform in front of children?
It depends on the nature of the performance.
We agree on that. And by the way, most liberals don't. Just so we're clear. So you're a big fan of Ron DeSantis then?
No.
Well, he did that, and he was attacked by Disney, and he was attacked by every major left-wing group as harsh, anti-gay, don't say gay. I think you're actually more conservative than you are liberal, than you give yourself credit for.
No. Hold your applause. I am not, because where we differ is in how we define what is profane.
So I guess we agree on that. What I'm trying to get at, though, is why you believe what you believe. And we could spend all night doing this. You say you believe in freedom and free speech, right? Okay. So which side do you think the American right or the American left currently is doing a better job of protecting the idea of freedom of speech?
Actually, they're both sucking pretty hardcore. They're both being absolutely horrible at it.
How has the right been horrible at that? I'm curious.
They're both.
Real quick, I'm laughing at when she said that, and there's like one person in the crowd clapping. That was just hilarious to me. It's like in the movies where the one person claps and then they just kind of look around, and everyone's just staring at them, and then so they kind of just sit back down. That's what that totally reminded me of. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's see what this person has to say.
Horrible in the exact same way, and it's who are they protecting or standing up for free speech for? Like, free speech for who?
Can I ask a theoretical question? Do you think if a liberal came to speak at University of Kentucky, they'd give an open mic like I just did to a conservative and had a discussion like this?
I certainly hope they would.
No, they wouldn't, because speech is not a left-wing value. That's why Chuck Schumer went on the Senate floor yesterday and called for the censorship of a cable television program. That is why they have to deploy shock troops called Antifa to go after everywhere I go. When I go to University of California, Davis next week, there has to be 120 police officers because of the threats, the violent threats of liberals that want to disrupt our events. There are no right-wing hecklers that come to events like this. Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, myself, Candace Owens need 24/7, 365 armed security to prevent ourselves from the violent threats from the left. And so I think it's rather clear there's one side that is trying to do everything they can to shut one side up and one side that's trying to open up the marketplace of ideas. And I think that's rather self-evident. But I do want to thank you for coming here tonight and demonstrating.
I totally disagree with every...
Well, I'm totally not shocked that this woman disagrees with everything Charlie Kirk has said, but it's clear. The proof is in the pudding, baby. Like, how can you sit there and say, oh, they're both bad, when you have one side of the political aisle? Like, whenever you see these Senate hearings or whatever, these government hearings online, and it's like they're interviewing, say, Mark Zuckerberg, whenever it's a Democrat grilling them, it's always about, you're not doing enough to censor people online. Like, essentially, they try to put it under the disguise of, oh, this is for the safety of the users and such. But no, they just want to control narratives. I mean, that was clear during the COVID period, when they would not allow certain narratives to be posted online. I mean, it's not even just COVID. I mean, it's with a lot of things. The Hunter Biden laptop is another example. But they always grill like Mark Zuckerberg, and they always go, you're not doing enough to censor people on your platform. And then whenever it's a Republican grilling Mark Zuckerberg, it's always like, you're doing too much to censor people online. You guys notice that difference? When a Democrat's grilling, it's you're not doing enough. When it's Republicans, it's you're doing too much. I mean, that's clear right there. Proof is in the pudding that the right is more pro-free speech than the left. Now, there are going to be some things, because I know the left always be like, oh, when you have a Republican person go to speak at colleges like Charlie Kirk said, there's always left-wing wackos trying to take them down. You don't see that when left-wing people go give speeches at college campuses. So, yeah, why are these wackos? You could say, well, those are just outliers. Those are wackos. Okay, but do you agree with those wackos? Like, do you care that they're shutting down right-wing voices? I mean, if you say, no, I don't care, or, it's justified, well, then you're a part of this ideology. And where do you think these wackos get this from? It's from mainstream media narrative. What do you guys think about that? Do you agree with me, disagree with me? Sound off in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel if you like content like this. Let's see what this Libby has to say.
I don't discount that you've received death threats or anything like that.
So how about this? Public approval polls show that a majority of liberals do not believe the First Amendment is absolute. What do you have to say about that?
It's not absolute. There are restrictions to the First Amendment.
Such as?
There literally are legal restrictions to it.
Outside of incitement, what would one be?
Okay, let's see. Let me think back to high school civics class.
Do you think hate speech should be disallowed?
Fighting words is disallowed. Not fighting word. It's called that though.
No, they're very much not disallowed, actually.
They are disallowed if your speech is considered by a reasonable person and they harm you because of what you said.
Wait, you mean hurt their feelings or physically harm them?
Okay. If you intentionally provoke a person with your speech, that is not protected speech.
Yes, it is.
It actually...
The American Civil Liberties Union protected Nazis to be able to march in Skokie, Illinois around Holocaust survivors. Grotesque, outrageous speech is absolutely protected by the First Amendment.
I'm not saying that grotesque. I'm saying that... I can't really explain it right now, But there
That's fine.
is a limitation on that. Another limit is like you can't speech that like you can't yell fire in a
Well,
crowded theater.
you actually can, but that's a separate constitutional issue. That's incitement. That's a separate issue. But thank you for being here tonight. And I don't think we made any progress, but we certainly see where we disagree. So, all right, next question.
I understand that woman was nervous, but holy cow, was that an absolute fail? Like, this is probably like one of the worst because at least other people that Charlie has debated, at least they make some kind of point, no matter how ridiculous it is. But this woman, like, I mean, she was too nervous. Again, I get it. She even said, like, I'm so nervous. But come on, like, something. And she's absolutely wild. Like, yes, if I go, it doesn't matter. I could go up to a person and call them every nasty name on the book. That doesn't give that person a legal right to then assault me. That's not how the First Amendment works. It's not, oh, freedom of speech. But if you do say something that upsets someone else, well, they're illegally allowed to physically retaliate. Like, no. I mean, you could argue there's self-defense, maybe in some cases, certain, because I'm sure I'm going to get people in the comments that are like, oh, self-defense. I mean, yeah, but even then, I mean, like, that is not how this works. And this self-identified liberal woman here, it's amazing that she self-identifies as liberal because this is absolutely a liberal position, and she just proved it. She says, I'm a liberal, and no, I don't think there is absolute free speech. It's like, well, there you go. But it's funny, though, because these lefties are so hypocritical, because on one hand, they'll be like they'll actually say free speech is not absolute and that there are exceptions. But then whenever the right cancels someone on the left or, doesn't want, say, a drag queen or something, like, or no, not even drag queen, just they don't want this LGBTQ ideology taught in school specifically to children and stuff like that. Oh, then all of a sudden they're all about, well, free speech. And then they call us hypocrites because they're like, oh, you're free speech until this. It's like trying to indoctrinate your children through the public school system. That's not free speech. That is not free speech. And even if the right was being hypocrites, well, hey, that's the standard that you guys set. You guys said yourselves you are not free speech absolutists. Okay, so if the First Amendment, if there are exceptions to the First Amendment, well, I mean, who sets these standards then? Who sets the exceptions? But what do you guys think? Sound off in the comment section below. And if you're saying yourselves that there are exceptions, well, then who gets to set these exceptions? The left or the right? Well, the left, they want to be the ones that set the exceptions. So then I have to ask, who are the real fascists here? Sound off in the comment section below. If you want to see Charlie Kirk owning more of these confused libtards, I have a whole playlist for you in the right-hand corner.